The moment you tell somebody that you're a writer, most people automatically assume that you would have written a novel, perhaps a couple of short stories, or at least some decent poetry. The stereotypical perception about writing is such that people associate writing with something grand, sublime, out of this world. They treat writing and a person who writes as almost this kind of magical, occultish thing which is completely out of this world. So people generally expect when you tell them that you're a writer that you would have written some very clever or creative things, which is generally a novel, short stories, or poetry. If you tell somebody that yes, I'm a writer, but I've never written a novel, I rather write non-fiction, that is, I've written articles, essays, this and that, then the enthusiasm of the audience fades and people go like, okay, and in their mind they're like, is this person, is he or she really a writer? Generally, people associate non-fiction with something banal, commonplace. People have this perception that non-fiction is not exciting enough, it's not hi-fi enough to be writing, and it's not creative enough or intellectual enough to be classified, or clever enough rather, to be classified as writing. The funny thing, although, is that more people write non-fiction rather than fiction if you look at different kinds of writing that's happening these days, both online and offline. Hey guys, this is Rati here. Welcome to my channel. And you would have guessed by now, perhaps, that what I'm going to talk about in this video. I'm going to talk about non-fiction writing. And if you're somebody who is a non-fiction writer or who is looking forward towards writing non-fiction, this video is exactly for you. I'm going to talk about common common questions, common issues faced by non-fiction writers, what kind of skills you need as a non-fiction writer, what are the things that you should keep in mind while embarking on this journey of non-fiction writing. I'm going to try and answer some of the most common questions that you might have if you are either already a non-fiction writer or looking towards writing some non-fiction. Now guys, this video is by no means an attempt to give you an exhaustive definition of different genres of non-fiction writing, but to put it broadly, non-fiction writing would refer to different categories of writing which you see both online and offline, including article writing, blog posts, the thought leadership kind of posts which you see on forums like LinkedIn and Medium. It would also include writing like literary analysis, literary pieces, memoirs, autobiographical writing, essays, report writing, academic writing, journalistic writing, and different kinds of very exciting hybrid formats of writing which are very much in vogue these days. Basically the kind of writing where it's difficult to pin down what genre does it belong to exactly, and where you see a mix and match of autobiographical style, some kind of memoir kind of writing, then reflective analysis, and with a bit of everything thrown in, placed in a larger socio-cultural or political context, the kind of writing that loosely comes under the category of commentary or opinion piece. Like I said, with the phenomenal rise of social media, the hybrid kind of non-fiction writing, which like I said is difficult to classify and which comes broadly more under the category of creative writing, is getting very much popular these days. Now, coming to things I want to talk about, the first thing I would say as a non-fiction writer, the first advice rather I would give you is to look for your own story and to chisel out your own story. Now, let me explain what I mean by your own story. Every person has a unique life story. No matter how uneventful you think your life might have been, if you sit and reflect on your life trajectory, the things you have achieved, the kind of obstacles that you have passed, and different kinds of experiences that you've had in your life so far, there's bound to be something memorable about everyone's life, right? When you sit and start sort of really thinking, reflecting on these things, and start making some points, start jotting down things, that you would be amazed at the kind of maybe quirky and dramatic stuff you come across in your own seemingly mundane and uneventful life. It could be a personal experience that transformed your life trajectory. It could be some memorable experiences. It could be something bizarre or goofy that you did once upon a time that you're either embarrassed of or maybe rather proud of. It could be a moment that changed your life trajectory. It doesn't necessarily have to be your personal life experiences. It can be something to do with your professional achievements. Perhaps you sort of changed fields, switched professions midlife, and it's something that you're proud of. Perhaps you took some difficult professional decisions after COVID and your life trajectory completely transformed itself. So basically, these are examples. There can be many things about your personal and professional life that the reader might be curious to read, that the audience might be curious to know about. So the first step is to ideate about your own life and to contextualize your own unique life story, to basically find your own unique life story. The next step is to place your own life story in a larger socio-political and cultural context. Now, even if your life is a lot of fun and you did a lot of bizarre and goofy things, you have a lot, people can perhaps learn a lot from you. Absolutely nobody is interested in your life unless and until your life trajectory somehow connects with their life, or you have something larger to say that connects with the larger socio-political cultural realities. That's the harsh truth. If you write something which is very specific and purely autobiographical and memoir based, unless and until you happen to be a very famous person, people are not going to be interested in reading that stuff. So the next step, like I said, is to sort of contextualize your life and, maybe connect your personal experiences with some larger issues. It could be anything. It could be social issues, cultural issues, political issues, environmental stuff. For example, perhaps you're passionate about climate change, green energy, and things related to the environment. You're genuinely attached to the environment. So you could write a piece exploring environmental consciousness by contextualizing some of your own experiences as somebody who is very attached to the environment. Maybe you could bring in your own life experiences, how you're fond of certain things, or how you live life, believe in living life organically, and then place it within a larger sort of context of environmental consciousness and whatever discourse is happening related to the environment these days in the present time. So that was just one example. There are many such examples, many such ways in which you could contextualize your personal experiences and write something wonderful, insightful, that touches the chords of many readers. This is also the kind of writing which is especially very hot these days. It's in vogue these days. You would see, especially on a lot of digital media publications, this kind of writing is very popular, where you start with your own personal experiences, your own life experiences, and then you move towards a larger debate, towards a larger issue. You contextualize your personal experiences and connect these to a larger theme. So from that point of view, from the point of view of getting published as a professional writer and perhaps earning some money as a non-fiction writer, from that point of view also, it's a great idea. But the first step, like I said, is to sort of find your own unique life story and really sit down and reflect on your life trajectory and perhaps jot down some points and take down some notes. Like I said, this kind of writing is the easiest in the sense that everybody can talk about themselves, and if you give it a bit of a thought, everybody will have something about their life which is interesting, and it's relatively easier than other kinds of non-fiction writing. So if you want to get started as a non-fiction writer, I think tracing your own life story, contextualizing your own life story is the way to go. The second thing I want to talk about in nonfiction writing is about research skills. Research skills, and I cannot emphasize enough, are the absolute soul of writing nonfiction. Research is obviously needed for fiction as well, but in fiction, because it's make-believe, you still have some kind of leeway to get away from research. But nonfiction writing, whether you're writing journalistic pieces, articles, or even blog posts for that matter, you cannot get away without research. Everybody has a different way of approaching this, but I can share my way of doing things. When I write a nonfiction piece, when I'm writing an article or an essay or a blog post, I usually do the research first, and then I create a document where I collate all my references or all my sources, even if I do not have to make those references in the final article. And even if the article is somewhat semi-formal and conversational, it's not that formal, I don't have to sort of quote those references, I still make a list of those references. And I think that's very important, that you have all your research in one place so that you can go back and forth and check and sort of check and cross check what you're trying to say and if it's accurate or not. No matter how intelligent you are, it's not possible to just read stuff and remember it and then write the article. I would suggest to have some kind of a coherent strategy, some kind of a rational strategy to go about your research while writing a nonfiction piece. First is the research, then second thing is, apart from research, fact-checking is extremely important for nonfiction. Once you have written your article or essay or whatever, now is the time for fact-checking. You have to go through that article multiple times, and if the piece is long, then it makes even more sense to fact-check even more. And trust me, guys, you would be amazed at the little errors you find. No matter how many times you fact check, sometimes you might just come across a new error every time you do the fact checking. So you have to go back and forth to the references, do fact checking. Non-fiction writing can be fun, it can be creative, obviously, but it also involves a lot of research, and it's about being meticulous with detail, fact checking. And that's why it probably comes across as a boring kind of writing style to a lot of people, but it's also rewarding in the end. Plus, most non-fiction writing, which gets you money, which gets you professional assignments, is sort of factual and deals with a lot of concrete stuff. So impeccable research skills are a must for great non-fiction writing. One of the most common questions that people who are getting started as non-fiction writers have is if I should stick to a particular niche or should I write across different genres, different categories. Now, to be honest, guys, there's no clear-cut, straightforward answer to this question. But if you ask about my opinion, I would say that when you're getting started as a non-fiction writer, it is worthwhile to explore different areas, be flexible in your approach, write across different genres, just dabble into different areas and see what fits for you, rather than forcing yourself to be very rigid and tying yourself to a particular genre. Because what happens is that until and unless you're very sure that this is the niche for you or this is the genre for you, if you forcefully tie yourself to a particular genre, it can kind of limit work opportunities as well. You should start with writing across different areas, different categories, and then gradually, when you know what you're good at and what works for you, you can start developing your expertise and start constructing a body of work, authoritative body of work in a specific niche. You have to take practical considerations into account as well. Maybe something you're really passionate about, you're great at writing about something, but it's a very, very specific niche, and there's a very low probability of you getting work in that niche. For example, you might be very passionate about a certain kind of theater, writing about a certain kind of theater, or you might be very passionate about writing about puppetry, or maybe something about tattoo art. But these are very specific areas, right? And it's highly unlikely for you to get a huge volume of work in these areas. So it doesn't make sense to sort of stop writing everything else and just specialize in these areas, unless and until you want to go into in-depth research or something. That's a different area altogether. But as far as writing is concerned, I think it's good to be generic in the beginning and broaden your horizons rather than be very specific. And slowly, like I said, as you gain more expertise, you can be specific as well. Also, certain areas which are in vogue, which are very hot areas, like for example writing about healthcare, or technical writing, or writing about artificial intelligence these days, or writing about education, these kinds of writing about business and entrepreneurship, investing. Obviously everybody wants to write about these areas, and these are very much in demand areas. But you also have to remember that unless in some of these areas are very specialized, like writing about banking, for example, or writing about healthcare, unless and until you have some direct professional exposure to these fields, it's very difficult to specialize in these kind of niches. Of course, it's not impossible, but like I said, it's very difficult. So you have to keep all practical considerations in your mind while choosing your niche. You have to be very careful. And like I said, that's why as a beginner, it's better to sort of branch out rather than limit yourself to a particular niche. Something very exciting about nonfiction writing, which I think a lot of people miss, is also the fact that nonfiction writing these days is being strategically used by a lot of people, especially independent professionals, to brand themselves for self-branding and self-marketing purposes. The kind of thought leadership posts you see on forums like LinkedIn and Medium are basically all non-fiction or examples of non-fiction writing, and these are essentially self-branding exercises where independent professionals in various fields, be it education, healthcare, or be it in technical fields, they sort of try and share their expertise, create some buzz around the area of expertise, and that's how they essentially brand themselves. These are not with very long posts. This is not very long form of writing, maybe something 200, 300, maximum 500 words if you're writing an article or something like that. But the idea is to be, the idea is for these posts to be very, very power-packed, informative, analytical, insightful, so that people really, really gain something from these posts, and you get an opportunity to flaunt your expertise. So this is something that you can look into. You must tap into the power of non-fiction writing to self-brand yourself. Even if you're not a writer, it makes sense, especially in these times with the rise of social media and with all these different online publications and online kind of different kinds of writing becoming very popular. It makes sense to strategically use non-fiction writing as a tool to create a buzz around whatever it is you do. You must have already noticed this trend that a lot of people who are not writers are publishing non-fiction books in different areas. Healthcare professionals, beauty specialists, fitness professionals. You see everybody is writing a non-fiction book these days. Maybe they might not even have written the book themselves, and maybe they hired a ghostwriter, who knows. But the point is that getting connected with a larger audience helps them branch out. It helps them create more professional opportunities for themselves, of course, market themselves. And also, if you would notice, like for example, a lot of motivational writers who are very popular and they publish motivational books, they are doing something different professionally, right? Perhaps they're giving motivational workshops, or they are sort of very, very expensive speakers. But there's something which they're doing something differently, and they're not just getting their revenue from book sales. They do not depend on writing for their livelihood, but getting these books published helps them develop a solid client base for whatever it is they're doing offline financially. So what I'm trying to say, I guess, is that non-fiction writing is a great way to create a buzz around your profession, and you must use it strategically in this day and age. The last thing about non-fiction writing that I would like to draw your attention towards is that it is great for developing your analytical skills, your logic and reasoning skills. Analytical skills are a must for every kind of professional communication, not just writing, but even verbal, oral communication, whether you're giving a group presentation, whether you're participating in a group discussion, or you're giving a presentation, or even if you're having sort of a semi-formal discussion with your colleagues at work. The way to go about a complex topic, is to not just go all over the place randomly, but to sort of divide it into small portions and to break it up logically and then argue different aspects of it. That's the basic of analytical writing. You would remember when you were in a relatively lower class in school, you were taught the basic structure of analytical writing. When you were writing an essay, you were perhaps told that every essay has 3 basic units: introduction, body of the essay, which is the main your main arguments, and then the conclusion of the essay. It depends on you what you write first. Maybe you first write the body, the main material of the essay, and then write the introduction towards the end. But this was the most rudimentary analytical structure of a writing unit, which we were taught in school. And obviously, as we gained in knowledge, and as we sort of moved towards higher classes and then went to college and then passed out college, the writing process became more complex. The essay was no longer the simplistic unit of introduction, body, and the ending, and the conclusion, but it was divided into a number of categories and subcategories. There was, of course, the introduction was always there, but the introduction was also contextualized. We created a structure on what points we should address in the introduction and how we should go about tackling a topic. And then in the main body, you had different subheadings, and every subheading was based on a particular point, a particular argument, and then these arguments have to be obviously interconnected as well. So the structure keeps on getting more complex and complex, but the basic underlying idea of of the basic analytical unit remains the same, that to approach a complex topic you have to break it up into smaller parts and ask questions like why, how, why this happened, how this happened, and what are the main points, how you should go about approaching that topic. That's the basic unit of analytical writing. And analytical writing, non-fiction, sort of improves your analytical skills, and it also provides you with impeccable analytical skills, and you also need analytical skills for non-fiction writing. So it's like a vicious circle. And if you notice different kinds of writing that you do these days, almost every kind of writing, whether you're writing a diary entry, you're writing an email to someone, or you're even writing an application, all of this comes under the category of non-fiction writing. So this is something that you do not think about, but even if you do not want to become a writer, or if you want to become a fiction writer, even then non-fiction writing is very important, learning the basics, because like I said, it helps you sort of come to terms with the basic components of logic and reasoning and analytical writing. So guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. If you like the content, please do press the like button, and please do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.